fishing this morning with jigs and worms, and using night crawlers and jigs. And there's many different theories about how to use a jig and night crawler. You'll have some will pinch off the back of the night crawler. I like to put the night crawler on like this. You put the head through and leave about 1/2 inch of that night crawler head. Loop him one time, loop him one more time, and then you got a little bit of that head sticking out, and then you have the tail below that. The head protruding from that jig creates an action on which a podcast that we've done with Keith Cavias talks about. I think it's called sudden death or something like that, where that nightcrawler head causes an action on the jig that causes it to move in the water differently. On a bare hook. Well, it works with a jig too. So let's see what we can do. We've been catching some smallmouth here this morning. So we're going to illustrate how I fish that jig. You see how I baited it. Now I just throw that jig out, and as we said, you let that jig settle to the bottom. And when you let that jig go to the bottom, you slowly raise it up. And when you slowly raise it up, you usually get a bite when you slowly raise that jig up. I got a 1/4 ounce jig here. There's a good bit of current right here. So just real slow. And there. So pull on it now. There's a pull. There. See? So smallmouth's been hitting pretty good here this morning. So I don't know how big he is, but we got one anyway. Pretty nice smallmouth. Get the net. Go. Pretty good smallmouth. So, tell you, these jigs are producers for about everything. Once you learn how to use those jigs properly, they produce fish. I caught probably, I would say, 15 smallmouth this morning. Several small walleye, a few perch. Okay, so there we go. There's a pretty nice smallie to catch on a jig. Turn him back. This is Jerry Everhart in Hunt Fish Journal, and these jigs do work. Jerry Everhart again. We're fishing up in Michigan, and I'm out here this morning doing some jigging. As I've described in the podcast before, jigs are hard to beat when it comes to catching fish. At the same time you're throwing a jig, here's the jig, throwing a jig over the side with a night crawler, put about 1 inch above the hook, extend in front of the night crawler 1 inch, and the rest of it hang down, and that makes an enticing meal for a walleye or smallmouth. Now, over the side, in addition to that, we like to put a side pole over the side with a slip sinker, like a Lindy rig slip sinker, and with that slip sinker, you basically use number 2 hook and a minnow on it. So there you got a fish going down right there. Okay. Went under the boat. Where was that? Not sure where he went. There he is. He took a run under the boat. That's cool. Good fish. Good fish. Now this is on that slip sinker, slip sinker with a minnow over the side with about a 14-inch leader. And I think it's a smallmouth. Nice fish. Yeah. Nice fish. Okay, let's see if we can net him. Not yet. Yes. Nice smallmouth. Big smallmouth. Now, when you go smallmouth fishing, you don't mind catching a few of those. Let's see if we can get him unhooked. There. There. Nice smallmouth. On a slip sinker, simple slip sinker, about a 12-inch lead, and a minnow. Put him back. This is Jerry Everhart with the Hunt Fish Journal, smallmouth fishing.